Hello, I'm Cathy.
I'm Rachel.
I'm Ola. And I'm Luna. And welcome to the Luna Bird Book Club. Meow.
Today we will be talking about The Great Hunt, which is the second volume in Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time. Cathy is rereading the series for the first time, and we're going to listen to Cathy ramble about things that have happened.
Yes, lots of spoilers.
Yes, this will be a full spoiler chat because we've both read the whole series and love it, and just want to talk about the books and the ways that they are good books in the fact that they have an end goal in sight, I think.
Yeah.
I think Robert Jordan knew how things would end at the beginning. And I know that his story got longer than he anticipated it to be, but I don't think that changed the heart of the ending or like the key beat points that happened. I think it was probably just elongated in the middle.
Yeah, and I think rereading the series, you really feel it. Knowing the end, coming back into it now, I'm just so much more impressed with it this time round. And I enjoyed it the first time round, but I'm just more impressed. So, key plot points that happen in The Great Hunt. We begin at Faldara, where the last book ended, and Rand has kind of been in like a 6-week hiatus where he's not sure what's going to happen next. Moiraine has told him he's a dragon. He's not sure whether or not he believes that or not. He doesn't...
Is he not just kind of lying to himself, though? I think he's aware that he's lying to himself.
Yes. Moiraine has gone off, and he's been waiting and been training with Lan in the meantime. Then Moiraine comes back. The Amyrlin seat does a surprise visit to Faldara.
Surprise!
Yeah. Rand tries to run for it, finds that he can't run for it, and then I am like whizzing through this plot point because it's a big book.
Yeah.
And then the horn of Vllo gets stolen by dark friends.
Fane.
Yeah, Padden Fane and dark friends. And really, the majority of the book is kind of about the story of the retrieval of that horn. So some of our characters go looking for that horn. Our female characters make their way to the tower.
They meet Elaine.
They meet Elaine.
They meet Min.
They meet Min. Do you have mixed feelings on Min?
I do have mixed feelings on Min. I just, the first time round I found her, I just didn't want her to be there.
Yeah.
I think the second, when I was reading it, when you were reading it, I appreciated her a bit more, but now she just feels a bit surplus to requirements, really. Which sounds really, really silly because obviously she provides a lot of the prophecies and a lot of the future insights. I just don't really care about her. And I think the fact that she knows that she's going to marry Rand, she relegates herself to just a love interest. Like, there's so many more things that she could be doing, but she just spends the whole book being like, oh, I'm destined to marry Rand or to be in love with Rand, and he's destined to be in love with me, but oh, how sad, he fancies all these other girls, oh, boo-hoo. I feel like I'm being really harsh on Min's character there, and she's not just that, but that is the space that she fills in my mind. Yeah,
and now that you've said that, I can see why. I think the thing is that her being Rand's love interest is the only thing we see her actively choose to engage with. I know she feels like has to by fate, but there's a lot of other things that she knows are fated, like her gift, and she resists that a lot of the time. You know, she could be somebody's like, I have these visions, I have to understand the pattern more, I have to know where this comes from, but maybe she has already decided that all things are inevitable, but we just don't see her actively pursuing anything else.
In the future, she does get more obviously studious. She reads books and stuff, but again, it's not really about her, it's about Rand.
Yeah, she's
very much
Rand?
An additional part of Rand, whereas I think Elaine and Avienda, even as Rand's love interest, do actually have their own storylines. So yeah, I just find her a bit frustrating as a character, which makes me resent her presence. Maybe I'll soften more to her as we go on, but
maybe you're going to convince me and I'm going to go the other way, because I think when I first read the book, I really enjoyed Min. I didn't feel strongly about her in this book one way or the other, but I feel like when she's there, like, oh yeah, Min's here. I know Min, I get Min. But now you've already convinced me of different things.
Sorry.
I'm so easily influenced.
I've ruined your reading experience.
Yeah.
Of the storylines, which is your favourite?
I think probably Egwene's kidnapping and her escape from Falm. I think that's the most engaging for me. I was checking my notes. I did write that the early chapters, there's like a delayed start. Rand's waiting around for Marie, and then he's trying to escape, and it takes like 4 or 5 chapters for him to like come to a conclusion. I can't escape.
Yeah. I did also find that. I didn't necessarily dislike the delayed start, but I do know what you mean, that it takes him a long time to decide to escape, to run around to all the different gates, to go to Perrin and Matt and be mean to them so that they don't come with him, to hide in the dungeon, to hide in the women's apartments. It's very prolonged.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, we spend a long time with him in that process. I think reading the book the first time, I found that really annoying.
Mm-hmm.
The second time, I feel like it's actually quite a good setup for the feeling of like what Rand has to deal with, because he's not just trying to get out of the castle. This whole book is
him trying to escape his destiny.
Yeah, and he can't, and every exit he finds is going to be blocked off. And there's also like the hint of the big thing of like he's going to think I need to push people away, but really he needs the people he's trying to push away.
It's going to take him a long time to discover that, Cathy.
We're going to be in that cycle for a long time. I didn't like it the first time I read it, and I didn't quite believe it the second time either. How long the fallout between Rand, Perrin and Matt lasts doesn't feel quite true to me. Because I know that Rand definitely tried to push him away, and that there was circumstances that then made him appear like he was acting more lordly than he was. I just feel like those 3 know each other well enough that they would see through that in one another.
Well, yeah, because Egwene sees through it straight away, doesn't she?
Yeah.
She's like, I know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like Matt, even Matt being corrupted by the dagger. Matt corrupted by the dagger maybe could have had more of a reason not to, but I feel like Perrin would have quite quickly gone, yeah, I get it, dude.
I mean, I think that of the 2 of them, Perrin is more understanding of Rand's situation.
Yeah, he is. So one makes a point of saying that nobody could rise to power washing pots in Tar Valon, which just gave me a thrill because it's exactly what's going to happen later on. So I made sure I looked up the quote afterwards. She says, no one can rally around a woman who must scrub floors and pots all day. Pity her, yes, but not rally to her.
I think also the sentence before that as well also is about Egwene.
Yeah.
Where is it?
Because I think if I remember rightly, she's contemplating what might happen to her if it's discovered that she knows the dragon has been reborn and doesn't disclose it. And she thinks about being stilled, about being, stripped back of all of her power, and how would she ever convince people to follow her again?
Even stilled, an Amyrlin who has been pulled down cannot be allowed to wander about loose. She might be seen as a martyr, become a rallying point for opposition.
It foreshadows exactly what's going to happen to her and to Egwene.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's just very, very cool. And very cool as well that so early on we're thinking about the nature of what makes a powerful leader. And Rand in particular is going to be faced with many viewpoints of what that powerful leader needs to be from, Lanfear, and then the Seashan have their own idea and concept of what a powerful leader is. But so early on in this chapter, a powerful leader, even though it's saying like can't be that's exactly what it's going to be, is somebody who can rally people around them even as they're scrubbing floors and cleaning pots.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that setup. Oh, another thing I liked early on, Lan and Nynaeve exchange a ring.
I just hit the microphone, I'm really sorry. I just love them so much. They're so cute. They're just so mature about it.
Yeah.
At times.
Yeah. I love love where it's not the build up of like will they, won't they. It's like no, yes I love you, and yes I love you, and they actually do have very valid reasons of like why
they can't be together.
Yeah, why Lan is not going to make this a priority in his life to fall in love, settle down, get married, because he's got stuff to go do that's going to put him and his loved ones in danger. But if he could, it'd be Nynaeve, and if she ever needs him, he'll come running. And
they're just so cute.
His comment was just, Verin is wonderful and I love her. I still think this is true, even knowing everything we know about her.
Yeah, well, yeah, because, yeah.
She's a double agent.
Yeah.
But she truly is on the side of the light. And just every scene she's in, I'm just so intrigued.
She's just great, isn't she?
What is she going to do? And now I'm in through, I'm looking for double meanings in all of her words and actions. So that is really enjoyable, and I'm so glad to have Verin in the book as much as she is. So there's a part where the group go to a town, Kerrison, I don't know what town was I trying to write there. And it's all a bit of confusion, and Verin stops and talks to a guard and whispers something to him, and the guard was very keen not to let them in. And I just wondered, like, oh, does she reveal that she's also a dark friend at that point? Because then he lets her in, and it was somebody who was clearly evil.
Who do you think the Aes Sedai are at the beginning? Because there's 2 Aes Sedai at the Dark Friend social. I think that's what it's called.
So I think one will be Leandrin.
Do you think the other one is Verin, or do you think it's somebody else?
I think Verin would have been wouldn't have been broadcasting that she's an Aes Sedai.
Okay.
So it's probably one of the others, but I don't know which one. I feel like Verin just played it so close to the chest that she wouldn't have risked anything. How creepy is Padan Fain's escape from the keep? Because, you know, there's chaos, dark friends have come in, people are fighting Fades all over the place, and then the dungeons where he's at, people have gone crazy, there's blood writing on all the walls, and he's gone, and Egwene and Mat are knocked out on the floor. I just found that very, very sinister.
And I think even before that, when Egwene and Rand go to the dungeons and she talks about how the guards have just got worse and worse. Like the first time she went to visit him, what's he called? Chew something. The guard on the door, she says, like, the first time I came, like, he was joking and laughing, and now he's so snide and really mean to them. And it's quite uncomfortable, the amount of influence that Fain has just with his presence.
Yeah.
Although I suppose that's more and more deaf than Fain, although they're the same person at that point. And like he's like looking directly up at the women's quarters.
Yeah.
It's just creepy.
Yeah.
He's so creepy.
Really creepy, gives you shudders reading it. Very enjoyable. Later on, when they go to the steading and they meet Aiel, Perrin sees them coming and he goes, "Oh, the Aiel." And he said, they're in a group of people, and he goes, "They are looking for the Sunbringer, that's why they're here." And Mat turns to Rand and goes, "They're looking for you, Rand." I just really enjoyed that.
He has no tact whatsoever.
No.
He's just funny.
I wrote in brackets, tactful Mat. And then there's a really sad moment where Rand's thinking about all he's been through, and he says in his head, between Aes Sedai and Tam, they had severed all the roots he thought he'd had. And I feel like that's a really significant thing for Rand, that he's thinking, because the Aes Sedai have revealed to him that he's a dragon, and Tam has also definitely revealed that he's not his natural born son. Rand is really disconnected from his history and his past and his identity at this point. And that's really sad, but then it gets...
I think it's really interesting that he lumps the Aes Sedai and Tam together. Like, he's holding them both equally responsible.
Yeah.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
Sorry, what were you going to say?
And then that's kind of mirrored later on when they go to the portal stone and Rand tries to activate it and they all get all these visions of the future. But all of Rand's visions, no matter what choices he makes in life circumstances, they all end the same way. He dies and he hears a voice saying, "I've won again."
I've won again, lose that in.
And I just like, oh my goodness. So Rand in this book, he is cut off from his past identity, and then he's cut off from any future identity either. And he's really, really lost now.
Boy.
I know. In terms of knowing like who he is or what he's going to do. I feel really sorry for Rand. They make it to Falm. Rand and the people with him, they actually are very successful. They get the horn, they have a battle, they've got the horn, they can get out of here, but Rand knows that Egwene's there and she's captured. And the whole Delmarni is just, I think, the most horrific nightmare situation that's been created, and the description of how this slavery works and the amount of control that's put on Egwene and her few choices, it is so depressing and awful and horrific that it's done really, really well, and it's just a horrible thing to read about. And Rand says, what's the point of the horn if I abandon Egwene to this? And I feel like that really defines who he is as a hero, because he's got the means for glory and power and to fight, but he knows it doesn't mean anything if you leave your loved one behind to suffer. And I feel like this book is they're all about the forging of Rand, but I feel like it's done really well in this book of like, yeah, this is Rand revealing who he is. Moraine wants him to be the dragon. The Aes Sedai want this from him. Lanfear wants that from him. People are treating him like a lord, and he doesn't really feel like a lord throughout. But who Rand is at the heart, he's the one who wouldn't leave Egwene behind. So I think that's, it's got a punchy arc, this book, and it works. And although I feel like Wheel of Time subverts some fantasy tropes, because you've got a chosen one who's not that keen to be chosen, the one thing that it really upholds is perhaps like the true heart of fantasy, which is choosing light over darkness. And I think it does that really well. Immediately after that, when Rand says, oh, I need to go back and the Horn's worthless if I don't do that, Ingtar says, you are a better man than me, Rand. Lord or shepherd, a better man. And then we hear that Ingtar's been a dark friend and he was the one.
This whole time.
I know. And you know what? Obviously, I've read the book once. Still shocked me. I think I'd forgotten. I'd forgotten who Ingtar was. I'd forgotten everything about it. So when he revealed that, I was like, oh, it's just heartbreaking.
Does it reveal how long he's been a dark friend? Or does it just say that he was the one that let them in?
I don't think it does say. But I feel like perhaps letting them in was the only act he's done.
Because I was wondering about this towards the end of Eye of the World, because obviously when we did our Eye of the World video, I hadn't read it.
Yeah.
Because Ingtar's in the end of the Eye of the World, and he's desperate to be at the battle at Tarwin Scat, but he's too late to get there, and everything's happened before he gets there. And part of me just wonders if maybe something happened around that time.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know if that's too soon of a turnaround. I don't know. I'm just speculating in that. But so it just really struck me at the end of the Eye of the World that this was a man who was in a position where he would be really susceptible to
Yeah, because I feel like
being turned.
I think the way it came across to me was like, yeah, he was put under pressure of, look, we make this deal, you let us in, but it means that we'll spare your people. And he can just see like, this is my one chance to do that because the fighting isn't working anymore. So yeah, I could see that maybe it was around that time.
I don't know.
But it's clearly, I think it's a fairly recent thing, or a fairly recent thing for him to have acted actively on behalf of the Dark Ones, because he is desperate throughout this book to get his hands on the Horn.
To redeem himself.
Yeah, to redeem himself, to do the one thing. Because a couple of times, like, Hearn's like, well, it's not about us getting the Horn. Like, the pattern will be what the pattern will be. We just need to serve and do our duty. And Ingtar's desperation to get the Horn and be the one to do it is out of sync with the rest of them. And it's because, yeah, he wants to redeem himself. And it's so tragic. And he kind of says to Rand, like, what could ever change? I've done this awful thing and I'll never be able to redeem it. And Rand says, I think the only thing you have to do is now choose to serve the light instead of the darkness. You just have to choose now.
And then he holds the alleyway and lets them all get away.
Yeah, then Ingtar sacrifices himself.
Do you think he does redeem himself there at the end?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say so.
Okay.
I agree with Rand. I think the only thing you need to do is change direction and set off in the right direction, and that's enough. Would you?
Yeah, absolutely.
The last note that I've got is something that Balsamon says to Rand when they're battling. He says, those who could save you will be sent across the ocean. Which, again, I don't think I'd picked up on the significance first time. But obviously he's talking about Egwene and Nynaeve, who they are trying to quickly get on a ship and send across. And that's the whole reason why they've been brought to Falme in the first place. And that kind of reveals that the Forsaken know somehow through the pattern that Egwene and Nynaeve are crucial to Rand, and that Rand cannot do it alone, and he's definitely going to need these two women, perhaps more so than anybody else, to win. I didn't write any notes about Lanfear. Do you have any thoughts of Lanfear?
Just that she is funny. I find her really funny. Again, another incredibly unsubtle villain.
Yeah. I think the first time I read this book, I was a bit annoyed of like, this woman's obviously evil. Why are we pretending she's like a damsel or a lady? Like, she's obviously evil. But now reading it again, I'm like, oh, I don't think it's meant to be a surprise that she's evil. Like, she's meant to be suspicious from the start. And yeah, she is just a crazy, like, god of dreams evil lady, obsessed with Rand and trying to mould him and push him to being the man that she wants him to be. And she's completely disconnected, really, from real human life. And that's how she comes across. So actually, it's better constructed than I think I first gave it credit for. Now I know, no, this is Lanfear. She's unsubtle because she is unsubtle. All in all, I really, really enjoyed this book, and I feel like it really holds together and definitely has a beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah,
and
it really works as a story itself, doesn't it? Not just as a piece of the Wheel of Time. It is a really good standalone book.
Yes, absolutely, and I really appreciate that.
Anything else to add?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for watching.
Yes.
Bye.
See you later. Yeah, whilst you... Paula, you've got a case of the dramatics. This is going to be a very long process if you do that every 10 seconds.
I just let Lena out.